right. So let me just get going. So I'm just going to talk about the concept of plant-based eating for a few minutes. So there's many different aspects really to eating less meat and going, trying to have a plant-based diet. Not the least of which is the health aspect. And I'm not really going to get into that today because that's not the main topic of our meeting today, but it's something to keep in mind as well. And you can just go online and Google, and there's lots of different ways of doing that. The other thing I'm not really going to get into today is what a balanced plant-based diet looks like. Because if you cut out meat entirely, you do need to think about getting the proper balance. And again, you can Google that. There's a lot of information online. I'm really just talking at a higher level more about the concept. But it is, in fact, kind of like low-hanging fruit as far as environmental stewardship is concerned. It's something we can all do, even if you don't cut meat out entirely, just reducing the amount of meat, as we're going to see in a minute, enormously helps the environment. We talk about changing light bulbs and other things. This is an enormous help as well. So it's a very easy thing for us to do, and it also has a lot of implications in animal welfare, which is a kind of related topic. This is where I originally became a vegetarian through that avenue. But today we're going to focus on the bigger environmental picture. But numbers vary too. So any number you see today, don't take it to heart. You can go to different reputable sources and see slightly different numbers. But we believe that animal agriculture contributes, somewhere between 14 and 16% of total greenhouse gas emissions, and that's like methane, nitrous oxide, carbon dioxide. And methane is a particularly bad one. If you know anything about greenhouse gases, it's a lot worse than carbon dioxide, so it's not good. And this is hugely more. I don't have an exact number for you because there was a lot of differences in the numbers, but it's like factors more than the nutrition equivalent amount of vegetarian food. And just to throw something at you here, you don't have to see all the detail here, but this is greenhouse gas emissions per kilogram of food product in carbon dioxide equivalent, all right, per pound. Per kilogram rather. And you can see beef is right up there as one of the biggest greenhouse gas generators per kilogram of food. And then other meat up here, and then anything that's basically veggie is right down, all the way down, the bottom here. So in general, the process that we have of our whole kind of farming, industry is a very large greenhouse gas emitter, and we'll look for the reasons for that in just a moment. We worry about water as well. Water consumption in agriculture is a big thing, particularly in areas where there might be water shortage with draining the aquifer or whatever. But it actually takes 18,000 gallons of water, and this number is pretty solid. Most people agree on this. 18,000 gallons of water to produce 1 pound of meat. And that compares to 25 gallons to produce 1 pound of wheat. Now, if you look at this chart groups all cereals together and is talking like 197 gallons to produce 1 pound of cereal in general. I think because wheat is particularly low water consumption, but whether it's wheat or some other cereal, it's still vastly less amount of water, less amount of greenhouse gas to eat the grain directly rather than generate grain to give to cows and then eat the cow. So it's a much more efficient process. A little interesting thing on this particular slide is see how much water nuts use, even though they're very low greenhouse gas emitters. It actually takes a lot of water to grow nuts, apparently. So they're not great for that. But everything else, fruit and veg, is down on the low side here. So, other environmental concerns, I just mentioned water consumption, deforestation, land use. The majority of US agricultural land is not for growing crops that we eat. It's either for grazing cattle or for growing cattle feed to, feed to the cows that we later eat. So just in terms of land usage, it's a horribly inefficient process of getting nutritious food into our bodies. And animal agriculture produces not only uses water, it creates a lot of pollution, a lot of land pollution, runoff. It's horrible. And then there's the whole animal welfare issue, particularly around factory farming. And this is driven, the whole factory farming thing is driven by, we want our burger to be $1 or less. It's like we are accustomed to having cheap food, and the only way to do that is to commoditize the animals that are in the process. You don't think of them as living beings that can suffer pain anymore. You think of them as just commodities, and you do whatever you need to do to make that process more efficient. And it's really horrible. It's really horrible. All right. So if any of you are concerned about getting enough protein, worrying about building muscle, you think it's going to be an issue being 100% vegetarian, then you need to meet some of my friends. Here's my friend the bison and my friend the gorilla, both total 100% vegetarian, and balanced vegetarian diet for humans too is a much more efficient way of obtaining protein than eating meat. There's a ton of protein in the right vegetarian diet. I mean, look at these guys. They are not short of protein. So what can we do? My advice, if you're not already vegetarian or going that way, is, don't go crazy. Keep it simple. I mean, this is the beauty of this particular issue, is it's not an all or nothing thing, so we can just cut back on the amount of meat that we consume. This like a few years ago, there was this meatless Monday idea, just start with 1 day a week, without meat, and then, go keep extending that. And that's kind of what we did some 35 years ago, and we, pretty quickly transitioned to full vegetarian. I have to say, just full confession here, I'm not actually vegan. Would like to be vegan, but I haven't quite made that transition yet. If you go full on vegan, it becomes harder, because it's amazing where animal products are used in clothing and everything else. You have to it's a harder lifestyle, but even just cutting out meat makes a huge environmental difference. There are alternatives out there. We have the Impossible Foods and Beyond Burger, which is like synthetic meat, which apparently tastes very good. There are some issues in itself around producing that. Some people call it was really like a chemistry experiment, and it's not particularly efficient process at the moment. My personal advice would be not to bother going that route, but just to actually cut out the meat. Something I wanted to leave you with is this really nice video called Eating Mercifully. And I'm going to give you this slide deck, so you'll have this link here, or you can just Google Eating Mercifully. There's a YouTube video, and it's done by a pastor. It's a Christian faith-based video, and it's kind of like the theological reasons of going vegetarian, and it kind of exposes some of the issues in the factory farm business. Probably not suitable for young kids. If you had a teenage youth group, that would be fine. It's not horribly gruesome, but there are a few things in there which aren't particularly pleasant. But I would highly recommend viewing that video, because it's can be life-changing. So I'm going to stop it there and just open it up for any questions before we move on.
Chris, this is near and dear to my heart because my daughter came to me at 16 and said she didn't want to eat meat. And so we've been on this track. She is vegan. I am not. I would say I'm flexitarian, but there are so many great cookbooks.
Yeah.
Because I even took a class because I didn't think I had enough skill to really make good meals. And it's not hard. And you can make, I mean, there are certain types of mushrooms that taste like meat. You don't necessarily have to use those alternatives, but you can use vegetables in a certain way and spice them to make them taste. So,
Yeah.
or even
Yeah, there's
fish for that
tofu and
matter.
other things. Yeah. Yeah, for sure. Yeah, actually, to be honest, that's how we got started through our kids. I mean, we were sort of somewhat sensitive to the issue, and our church, which in East Tennessee at the time, had like some kind of presentation going on, and the woman who was doing it was vegetarian, and she did this sort of presentation on the issues around eating meat, and that kind of pushes along. And then my eldest daughter pretty much said, well, I'm not going to be eating meat. I'm not eating meat anymore. So for a little while, we were like cooking 2 meals, and then my wife got pretty tired of that pretty quick. So we all went vegetarian, basically. That's how it got started. Because, sometimes our kids see the truth before we do, for sure. But thank you for that. Any other thoughts or comments? Right. And again, you'll have this presentation with,
Chris?
information on that. Yes.
Can I say something?
Yeah,
Make
sure.
a comment? It's me.
Absolutely. Hey, Jane Carroll.
Hi. I had an experience one time, well, a few times, because I used to travel on the Delmarva Peninsula, Route 13, down to Virginia.
Mhm.
And I don't know if anybody knows, but they have the chicken factories down there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
And you know how they say, once you see something, you can't get it
Yeah.
out of your head. Well, a chicken
I
truck,
don't see it, right?
tractor trailer rode by one time.
Yeah.
I could not believe how they had these chickens packed in there, squashed, sitting on top of each other, all packed together. And they looked so, all I could say is sad, but
They don't even look like chickens, right? Yeah.
yeah. And ever since then, I've kind of had a hard time. Well, I ate meat, but small quantities, but I keep thinking about that, how they were,
Yeah.
I have to call it torture. They were
Yeah.
just tortured in there.
Well, they are. They
And-
are. Absolutely. Yeah. No, because we go on vacation to North Carolina every year, and we go down that route. And even also in North Carolina, we've seen those factory farm chicken trucks.
Mhm.
I mean, it's appalling. It really is. And if you look at that video too, eating muscly video, that it's watchable. It's not too horrible, but it really exposes, what's going on in factory farming,
Yeah.
for sure. Well, thank you for that. All right, with that, we're a couple of minutes late, but not too bad. Why don't we move on to Mr. Kelvin Robinson from PSE&G. I saw you. There you are, Kelvin. Thought we could hand it over to you. Kelvin's going to talk about the energy audit process.
All right. Good morning. As mentioned, my name is Kelvin Roberson, I'm going to share my screen and let's see. The first thing I want to say is thank you for having me. I have learned so much in the conversations that we have had this morning that I can't wait to take back to my congregation. It's amazing at all of the things that people are doing, and it's a pleasure to hear those items. And one of the things I want to take back is you bringing your own coffee cup. Um, it's amazing how many coffee cups we go through, as you all know. But again, my name is Kelvin Roberson, and I want to thank Grace for inviting me. Again, it's been a pleasure to be a part of it, and I hope to be able to share as much information as I have taken in. Who is PSE&G? I'm sure you all know we're an energy utility company here in the state of New Jersey. We're one of a few. There's ACE, Atlantic City Electric, JCP&L, and others that I know, but don't come to mind exactly at the point. But we are all programs that provide your energy. And I work specifically for TRC. TRC is an implementer of the program. And we are also implementers of other programs in the state. They just happen to be of a different group. The programs are similar. There are minor differences in the programs, but there is the same basic premise, and that is to provide opportunities to businesses, churches, nonprofits, and the likes to help them to become more energy efficient. Our program is made up of energy program teams like TRC, but also through trade allies or contractors who work on their own. They don't work for PSE&G, but they use the programs that are provided by PSE&G to pass along opportunities to help you to pay for uh, or reduce the cost of making your respective facilities, including your homes, more energy efficient. Our program is made up of three basic programs, what we call prescriptive, direct install, and custom. The first I'll talk about is our prescriptive program. Now, our prescriptive program is what we internally call a retrofit program. It is primarily a program set up where we have a list of off-the-shelf items that have a associated rebate to it. And so you may have a typical light bulb. Someone mentioned going through their facility and replacing the light bulbs. Well, we give you an incentive for replacing that light bulb. So you go to your local hardware store, you buy that light bulb, there is an associated rebate that you can receive for replacing that item. And this goes for water heaters, washers, dryers, if you have a kitchen within your church facility. And now I'll say that I'm speaking on behalf of the commercial side. There is a separate residential side. And I've heard folks talk about that. But those entities are separate, but offer advantages for you to make those upgrades and provide rebates for making those upgrades within your respective facility. The only eligibility is that you are a account holder within the respective program. So you have to be a PSE&G account holder, and that you use items that are energy efficient. It has to show a reduction in energy for the replacement in order for us to give you the incentive associated with it. The prescriptive program, like I said, is one that has a pre-calculated incentive attached to it. And there are over 500 items that are associated with that. There is a list that we have that you can go to our website that will have a list of those items, and you can go through and walk through your business or house of worship and find things in there that you can do the replacement for the prescriptive program. Now, the prescriptive program is one that you can work in a couple of different ways. You can do the work yourself, where you may have a maintenance person in-house that can go through and replace those light bulbs or put in that new water heater, and claim that rebate for yourself. Or you can reach out to one of our qualified, certified trade allies, and they can do the work, and they will do the application workbook in order to claim the rebate on your behalf. The second program is our direct install program. This is a program that has been around for some time. It was great in listening earlier. There was the personal experience that Ben had mentioned about his church and being able to use the program. Our direct install program offers you the opportunity to save up to 80% on opportunities for putting in more efficient equipment in your respective building. Now, the difference between our prescriptive program that I mentioned earlier and the direct install is the prescriptive is associated with a particular incentive for an item. And so you can get an incentive for that light bulb. Or if you replace 20 light bulbs, it's 20 times that item. The direct install program gives you the opportunity to get a discount or a rebate on the total project costs, meaning that it includes not only the item, but it includes the labor associated with it. If there is disposal involved, if there is a lift involved, if there are ancillary items that are needed to do that project, they can be included, and you take the total price, and let's take a nice round figure of $10,000. And if the rebate potentially comes out to be 80% or 70%, we pay that rebate, and the rebate, or that calculation is made against the total project costs. Now, the requirements are a little bit different for direct install. For direct install, yes, you do have to be a PSE&G customer. The other thing is that you have to have been in the facility for at least 1 year. And this is for some of the businesses. I know most of the houses of worship will genuinely be a lot longer than that. But you do have to be in the facility at least 1 year, and we have to have 1 year of records to tie to that respective facility. The other thing is for direct install is you have to use one of our certified trade allies in order to do this program, because we only pay them. So there is no immediate out of pocket for you as a customer, because everything is going through the trade ally / contractor. And then at the end of the project, after everything is calculated and we have created a project, the rebate, your out of pocket, then we determine where the money is going, and we will pay the contractor for his work, and then you will be responsible for your side of the business. So let's say it was a 70% cover, then of the $10,000 for that example I made, $3,000 would be your out of pocket. And then we have that out of pocket portion, which we have to deal with. But again, those fundings go through the contractor, not through you directly. And depending upon if you choose to pay it out up front, or if you want to move it to what we call an on-bill repayment program, which we'll talk about a little bit later, you can move that to your PSE&G bill for 5 years interest-free. I won't go into the particular details of the direct install program, because it is broken up into 3 tiers, all based on the amount of energy that you use, just because there's no one size fits all regarding the size of houses of worship. There are storefronts and there are acres of facilities, but you're all included in this program. The other issue with the direct install program is that it does expand over a lot of different facilities. Previously, the program was only relegated to facilities that used a maximum of 200 kW, and that's how we would determine internally the size of the facility or the what it would take for you to be as a part of the program. But we've since increased that to 300. And so that has brought in much larger facilities and allowing them to be a part of this program. Here's just a quick synopsis, tier 1, tier 2, and tier 3. But again, you can save up to 80% on the total project, not just the items that you replace. Now, for programs that don't fit either prescriptive or direct install, we do have a program called Custom. And Custom is for facilities that have to do a little bit more for their facility. It's not a standard off-the-shelf HVAC unit, or it's not a standard water heating system. In this instance, we have an opportunity or create an opportunity for you to pay for that upgrade, and we pay it on a incentive basis. Now, for electric lighting, someone mentioned updating LED from the old fluorescent and incandescent lighting. Well, LED has been around for a minute now. And so now we pay to upgrade from the old LED items. We'll give you 50 cents per kilowatt hour saved for a light to light upgrade. And then for non-lighting type items, we'll give you $1 per kilowatt hour saved. And then on the gas side, for those water heaters, some of those boilers, some of those HVAC units, we'll pay $7 per therm. And so those items have to be calculated out, but there's still an opportunity to take advantage of savings. So in a conversation we recently had with our management, and this was mentioned by Ben as well, the programs have been around for some time, but we haven't done a great job of getting the word out. And so we wanted to try and create a presentation that would give you more information, more ideas about how to save energy for your respective facilities. And what is the purpose is finding energy loss. And in some of these older facilities, just the door being there, we're kicking out heat, we're kicking out AC through some of those old windows, through the basement, through some of the ducting. And so there are opportunities through one of our contractors who does weatherization. And there are companies like that that do weatherization, will come out to your facility, walk the facility, and find those cracks in the door, find those holes around those ducting, find different opportunities where they can add insulation. All of those are opportunities to save you energy, but we give an incentive for you to make that upgrade. Plumbing, electrical, turning lights on and off, occupancy sensors. There's so many things that we don't naturally come to mind, but they're things that can be added to some of these facilities to make them more efficient. But there are hurdles to try and do this. One is lack of knowledge. You can't do better if you don't know better. And so we have to get the word out, just like you guys are doing in this presentation today, making people aware. I like to think that I knew energy efficiency and things that I do, but I have learned so much in this meeting about conservation and eating better and doing better just from sitting in and hearing and taking in that information. The different sizes of the houses of worship, vaulted ceilings versus those that don't. There's so many things that we are can be blinded by because it's overwhelming. But we have to get this information out. And so we just have to continue to move forward and make people aware that not only are there opportunities to get the work done, but those items can be incentivized. So how do we do it? First thing is to make you aware of the programs. Connecting you with experts who can show you how to do it. And I always tell people, it doesn't cost you anything to find out. And that's for energy efficiency advisors like myself to be able to come out to your facility. I've heard free estimates on assessments of your facility. There are things out there that are available. And again, if we don't know better, we can't do better. But this is a part of the process of learning and doing more and doing better by our respective facilities. One thing that I heard in the breakout session is tap into the people within your congregation. I don't know how many people have an HVAC guy who's sitting in the back corner who can bring his services to the forefront. And what a better way than to have someone from within the congregation to be able to help you through and to help move the mindset to make those things happen. The electrician, the different folks that are available sitting right next to us. So again, how do we use the programs? The prescriptive program, as I mentioned, is an off-the-shelf type of retrofit program. You can use your maintenance staff or maintenance person within the building, do the work yourself, do the rebate, claim the rebate, and we send the check directly to you. Or you can find one of our certified trade allies who can do the same work if it's not within the realm of the facility manager, and we can do it that way. But you can still claim the respective rebate. Custom, again, it depends on the type of facility and the intricacies of the facility, but don't shy away from the task and being able to accomplish your goal of being more efficient. But we like to think of our programs as a salad bar. And in some instances, we do prescriptive. In some instances, we do custom. And in some instances, we do direct install. And it is not ordinary for us to use them all in the same facility. So not all things are covered, but we are not all things are covered under each respective program, but we can combine them to do the same work and get to our ultimate goal. In addition to our incentives, there are opportunities for rebates. There are opportunities for federal funding, and these can be combined with our project. So let's say let's go back to that $10,000 project, and we're given 80% in the perfect scenario. There are also companies that will help pay the $2,000 out of pocket. And so you can go through us to get more information about that. And then there are other entities within the state that will help you to pay that out of pocket. I learned recently that there are things for some of the historical facilities within the state as well, who will take the onus of the whole program. So we have to be diligent about going after those opportunities. We may have to find them in a crevice, but they are available. Now, one of the biggest drawbacks about this whole thing is, what is it going to cost? How are we going to pay for it to get the job done? We have our on-bill repayment program. The other thing is our 90-day look-back program, and I'll mention that in a moment. And then we have fast-track programs. Well, let's go to it right now. Our on-bill repayment program is a program that allows you to take your out-of-pocket portion and move it to your PSE&G bill for 5 years interest-free. Let me skip. I think I have I'm ahead of myself, but let's go there anyway. For a project that are under $250,000, for projects that are under $250,000, we will allow you to move your out-of-pocket portion to your PSE&G bill, and they will cover it 100%, meaning that you can move that and under your PSE&G bill using that on-bill repayment program. If it exceeds $250,000, the next out-of-pocket portion, we will cover 80% of that. So it's not still 100%, but 80% of 100 is better than nothing. And this is for all of our programs. So any work that you do or any project that you create, if that project is under $250,000, literally you don't have any out of pocket. And at the end of the project, when the bill comes due, you can pay 1/60th of that over the next 5 years versus having that big bill to have to deal with. I'm going to go back. I wanted to talk about some of the measures that we have in our respective buildings. Oil to gas heating conversions, particularly in some of the older facilities. That's a huge issue that comes up. You've got this old oil tank, you've got this oil system, and you want to upgrade. This is an opportunity for you to take advantage of savings. Boilers, water heaters, HVAC upgrades, ductwork improvements. Each of these items create an opportunity to save energy, and we give an incentive to do so. Roofing upgrades, ceiling fans, elevator upgrades. What is happening is if we can calculate an opportunity to save energy, if we can calculate that savings, we can give an incentive for it. So when you look in your facility, if it's burning energy, there's a calculation attached to it, and we can find a way to give you an incentive to either upgrade it or replace it. I love this sheet because I'm addressing you as a congregation or as a member of your respective house of worship. But the great thing about it is we can share this through the businesses of those business owners within our respective congregations, family owners, for those residential. We have to get the word out. And PSE&G and the other entities offer so many opportunities for savings to the homeowner, to the business owner, to the nonprofits, that this is information that we can share, and why not have it start with us? So again, going back to the resources involved, we have our on-bill repayment, our 90-day look back, guidance on available federal funding, online application portal, expert information, and then on-site walkthroughs. We talked about the OBR program. 90-day look back. How often is it that I go into a facility and someone says, I just replaced the HVAC system. I just replaced the water heater. If you have done that within the last 90 days, we will still give you an incentive for that. So let's say you bought the water heater a year ago. As long as you have replaced it within the last 90 days or installed it within the last 90 days, we will give you an incentive for it. And that goes for any item that is on our incentive list. Here's a list of some of the federal funding. And this PowerPoint presentation will be available. I'm sure that Grace will be able to get it to you at your request. but these are some of the programs that are out there that can help to subsidize your upgrade. Our online portal allows you to be able to go in and get help in doing the workbook to do the application for going after these opportunities to get your rebates. Our consultation team, energy efficiency advisors like myself, who are able to, we're on call daily to be able to accept calls for your inquiries and to be able to help you to find some of those savings under those rocks. If I'm not able to help you, we have an engineering team that we can set up meetings to help you to design or to help you to find opportunities for those additional savings. One of the great places to start is through our on-site facility walkthroughs, and that's to have someone like myself come out and just help you to uncover, as I mentioned, some of those rocks, things that we didn't consider. You need a new HVAC system. Let's do the smart thermostat. Let's do the occupancy sensors when you do the lights. But these all add up and they create opportunities for savings, even though you're doing a project that may seem a little bit overwhelming from that standpoint. But to have someone like myself to come through and help you find those is quite beneficial. And again, it's a free opportunity. So what are your next steps? Reach out online or call myself. And I'm always more than happy to speak with anyone about this program. I've been a trustee within my own church, so I know we need a team. We need people to be able to find a way to find savings within our respective houses of worship. So bring a person like myself in to help you find those. Consult a contractor within our program. We have over 400 contractors, and you can find them by area, those near your church, or we can help you to determine what best helps you. You can prioritize the measures. You don't have to do everything at one time. Always keep that in mind. So you're not relegated, oh, I got to do it all. But I always tell people, when you have that consultant come in, have them take a look at everything you're considering. Because if once you consider the whole project and the savings associated with it, it may give you some wiggle room to consider doing everything at one time. If it doesn't work for you, do something in the first quarter, do something in the fourth quarter. And our program is set up where you can do them in steps and you can add to the on-bill repayment program as you move along. And there's no limit. So keep that in mind as well. So I always tell the next move is for you to either go to our online portal, call one of our respective energy efficiency advisors, reach out to Grace, and Grace can reach out to me, and we can find someone to help you get it going. But the next move is on us. I know I took a lot of time. If I can take any questions, I'll be glad to do that. And again, I'll make myself available. If you reach out, I will come to your respective facilities or find someone in your area to come out and speak with you. But we want to emphasize that we want to make ourselves available so that you can take advantage of this program in the best ways that work for you.
I'm just going to say, I'm going to give a plug to Kelvin. We had a project at our church that it was a major HVAC situation in our parish hall. And I called Kelvin. I said, I think we need some help to figure out who we can use to do this kind of work. He was incredibly receptive, got right into the project team, and I've heard great things. So that's my plug.
All right. Thank you so much, Kelvin. That was extremely informative. And thank you, Grace, for bringing Kelvin to us. today. Really appreciate that.
Thank you.
We are running a few minutes late. If there's any quick questions for Kelvin, we can take them. Otherwise, we will move on. Our next speaker is going to be the Canon Adrienne Elliott from the Diocese of Olympia. And Adrienne is the co-author of the Episcopal Church's CreationCare curriculum. So I'm going to hand it over to you, Adrienne.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Really great to be with you all today. Kelvin, that was a great presentation and really exciting. I need to look into some of our options here in Western Washington regarding some of that clean energy. So anyway, I am the canon missioner for CreationCare and environmental justice in the Diocese of Olympia, which is pretty much all of Western Washington from Portland all the way up to Vancouver, BC, or I should say to the Canadian border. And I have a short, I'll keep it short, little presentation for you all on the Episcopal Church's CreationCare curriculum. Just a quick show of hands, who has heard of Love God, Love God's World? Got just a couple. Okay, great. Well, I'm really glad to kind of share this. It's a great opportunity for formation and hopefully, you know, depending on where your congregation is at in its CreationCare ministry, it's really open to all levels. So you don't have to be an expert, but it's also a great way to even just see what the interest is in your congregation and try to build that interest. Okay, let me change this here. Okay. All right, so love God, love God's world. We'll just do a quick intro on it, talk about kind of the background behind this project and offering, and then I'll share some links so you all have the info for how to get started or at least look more into this offering. So this came from Presiding Bishop Curry's office for CreationCare and Racial Reconciliation. It was part of a United Thank offering grant in 2022. There is a host of writers. I think we had like 8 or 9 writers from across our church, and not just from the United States, but even the larger, more global Episcopal Church or Anglican Communion. And we've started writing in February of 2023, and then the actual curriculum launched at General Convention last year in 2024. And so the hope is that by the end of the series, participants will be comfortable speaking about their faith, care of creation, and the climate crisis, that they will be personally transformed and invited into different levels of personal and collective engagement on creation care and climate justice, and that folks will be confident about where to find faithful resources and information. And so again, this is a curriculum. It's very similar in format to Sacred Ground, which is the race and faith curriculum series that the Episcopal put out a couple, actually, I think more than 5 years ago now. And I don't know if you've, you know, not everybody has done it. I encourage you to check it out if you haven't yet, but it's really easily deployable. So, you know, it's kind of getting everybody to this foundational understanding of what is climate change? What is our faithful response? Like Sacred Ground, you know, you can start a group at your church and you can just sign up through the Episcopal Church's website. We'll get into that later. But they've been able to track, you know, more than 20,000 people have gone through Sacred Ground. Imagine how many thousands of people in our churches going through this creation care and environmental justice program, what kind of work that would lead us and invite us into as a community. So it is multimedia. So there is a handful of readings, you know, YouTube videos, or even like episodes of a show, podcasts, chapters, not a whole book, but an excerpt of a chapter at a time, et cetera, et cetera. So you kind of do some of that multimedia education beforehand, almost like as homework, and then you get back into your small group and you have discussion-based small groups. So we do recommend, kind of similar to Sacred Ground, like 6 to 12 people is recommended, just for sake of creating a schedule that works for everybody, but also having that chance to have discussions that are really transformative and being able to get to know some of your co-participants. I've done Sacred Ground on Zoom with like 30 people, and we just have had to put people into smaller breakout groups. So I hope and pray that your church, or if you do it at the diocesan level, or even on Zoom with a couple churches, if you can't get enough critical mass for one church, it is possible to do it with more than 6 or 12 members. But we do recommend for some of that small group discussion to keep it smaller. And then again, there's 9 sessions. So people can kind of choose what cadence works for you. Some people want to just knock it all out and do it every week. Some people, maybe stretch it out a little bit and do 1 meeting a month or even every other week. It kind of just depends on your group, and you have the flexibility to choose. And so it's pretty easy. I would say gather the interest. We're kind of rounding out, finishing up the season of creation. We've got Sunday tomorrow, and hopefully some of you, this is an incredible opportunity to celebrate Sunday, what you're doing here with this webinar. But, gauge the interest in your church. See if you can form a group. Obviously, talk to your rector or others, leader and vestry about that, because it's a great opportunity for formation, as like, hey, could we do this as our Advent formation, or in our Easter season formation, or even just in this new year, the new program year. The session prep is pretty easy, and I'll kind of show you where to find all this information on the Episcopal Church's website. But the nice thing is all of the sessions, each 9 session is prepared completely. So really, as a facilitator, you just have to send the info out to your people, send out, as a convener, the meeting reminders, whether you're meeting in person or on Zoom. And the session kind of takes care of itself. There are discussion questions that are already crafted. So you kind of just have to plug and play. And then, once your group discusses things, there's kind of a discernment around, okay, what do we do next? What is our faithful climate action to do? What makes the most sense for our faith community, for our skills, our interests, our community connections, the assets that we bring, and also what are the needs? And so I'll just show you real quick a couple. Well, actually, maybe I'll skip this. We can make it go a little shorter. I'll just read to you some of the session titles, and I'll put this in the chat. So session 1, what is God's dream? Or this is kind of the first 3, is what is God's dream? And we go through God so loved the world, water, and our baptismal covenant, and then a vision for right relationship with the land, and covenant with Creator. So those are the first 3. Section 2 is about truth telling. We have not loved the earth as ourselves, our health and the earth's health, environmental and public health, and then lives in peril, extreme weather and disaster. And that one is specifically about, that last one is about migration and climate refugees. And then the last section, the last 3 are restoring the covenant and repairing the earth. God works with our broken hearts, grief, repentance, and reckoning. A better world is possible, community organizing for change. And then the last session is resilience along the way of love. And so I authored the environmental public health session, and then also I co-authored that last session about resilience. And really, I think, I don't know about you all, but for me, a lot of the public, or a lot of the CreationCare, where my heart is these days, is how do we build spiritual resilience alongside our physical resilience? Because it is it feels pretty hopeless at times out there, right? And it can be a little tough to be that hope and to kind of embody faithfulness in this world at this time. And yet, we're called to do just that. And we're called to invite our larger communities into that. Sorry, I guess we're gonna just have to go right through these to the end. Okay, so basically next steps, get your group together, gauge some interest, see, during this season of creation, who are the folks that have really loved the season of creation liturgies or some of the formation opportunities that you've been crafting. Work with your church leadership to start a new group. And again, this is a great opportunity to see, hey, this is kind of an already crafted curriculum and a formation opportunity for 9 weeks at least, we can invite the larger church into. And then promote and gather your group, identify a facilitator or a convener. And again, you don't have to have somebody that's, the biggest climate activist ever. It can be somebody that's curious or interested, but is able to kind of hold space well for folks. But also, obviously, if you have folks that are the biggest climate activists, like yourselves, I'm sure, it's great, obviously, if you have a little bit more background as well on some of the topics. And then, yeah, establish your timeline and cadence and some group norms, and hopefully report back to hear more about how the sessions went and what your community is being invited into. And so you can scan the QR code, but I will also put all of these links in the chat. And that's pretty much it. So I will stop sharing there. Are there any questions? I'm just going to catch up. Oh yeah, Barbie, thank you for putting my email in the chat. Feel free to let me know if you have questions. I know some of our congregations here in the Diocese of Olympia have already started, and they've really enjoyed it and are kind of like, okay, yeah, what is our next thing to do? And some have gone in a more environmental justice way of kind of seeing like, oh wow, we've got racially restrictive covenants in some of our deeds in our neighborhoods and stuff. How has that created some of the environmental injustices, we don't experience in our area versus other communities in Seattle? So anyway, there's a lot of ways that your community can go with this, but it's out there, it's free, and it's really easy to do. So I'll kind of leave it at that and share those links in the chat.
Oh, thank you so much, Adrian. Like all our speakers, if we could have a copy of the slide deck, we can make it available to everybody who's registered here, and we will certainly do our part in the Diocese of New Jersey to get this out there and promote it. And I will certainly do what I can within my own congregation, because I know it's a really good program. But thank you so much.
Adrian, have you seen it done where you have multiple churches join in? So just in case there's a really small church that doesn't have enough people, but could we join with others?
Right. Yeah. So because it's so new, I haven't seen it yet with multiple churches, but like I said, with Sacred Ground, we've done that at the diocesan level. If there aren't enough critical mass at one church, we can get folks together. And I don't see any problem with that. I think that, if the group is big enough and you have a couple people from your church, that would be great, especially kind of towards the end when you're trying to feel like, okay, what is our discernment around our next faithful step here? What does our community want to do? And maybe for those folks, we got to bring this back to our church and see if we can get more people to help start this and kind of go through the curriculum. But yeah, I think it's not a problem at all to join churches. The other thing too, I'll say is that there are action steps for each session, and it's kind of tiered. So it's across the spectrum, intro level, kind of medium, more familiar, and then folks who are maybe already doing this work but want to take it to the next level. So that is one thing that we tried to include in there was action steps for each of those sessions kind of related to that topic specifically. So, and who knows? I mean, I think, more and more, if we're able to join and do what you all are doing here, which is to build up this community. You know, the more folks that are involved and excited, the better. And hopefully that will garner more support and engagement at your churches too. So, but doing this cross church is great. Yeah.
Right. Thank you again. I'm going to move on. We are running a little late, and our last speaker for the day, also from the West Coast, is Lisa Alteri, and she is the founder of Sustain Island Home and the Carbon Tracker. So I'm very happy to hand over to Lisa.
Oh, thank you so much. And thank you so much for the invitation to join today. I know y'all are running late, so I will make this brief, but I wanted to just take a moment and introduce you to Sustain Island Home if you haven't had a chance to get to know it a little bit. There's been some really wonderful programs here, and I'm so excited, Adrienne, to hear that you've launched your new program. It's wonderful. And so this program is really focused on how we can all take action in our daily lives and beyond. There's so much that we can all do. So we have amazing programs to help with your church facilities, to take action there, to reduce your impact, and to really move into a deep conversation around environmental justice and faith. And Sustain Island Home is the component that really focuses on the very practical question of what can I do in my daily life? And what steps can I take to really start to walk more in this in our daily lives of bringing these really important actions that are going to help protect our beautiful planet and our beautiful world. So Sustain Island Home was part of the pledges for the General Convention, the 79th General Convention. So it's been around for a minute. And I'm going to just share my screen and show you what it looks like. It's meant to be a very simple and easy way for everyone to learn how they can take action on here. Let me just quickly, I'm going to turn my video off just to save a little bit of bandwidth here. So it's really designed to make it very easy for everyone to learn the actions and steps they can take. So it's easy to find. It's sustainislandhome.org, and I can put that in the chat afterwards. And as you can see here, there's quite a few households that have started to take action. There's a letter from Bishop Curry and Presiding Bishop Curry, and we are looking to update and bring some new content onto the homepage. But it's very easy to get started. All you do is click Get Started and tell a little bit about where you live so that we can provide you local information about your options to take action, and then also to choose your diocese and then also your congregation. And this is how you get connected. So once you choose your diocese and congregation, then you'll be connected with folks from your congregation or your church when you're on the site, and you'll be able to work together. So once you create your account, this is what it looks like inside. And it's very simple. You have your homepage, which you can really pretty much find everything you need here. Or you can also choose to go to the Actions and Community page directly. But I'm just going to walk through the homepage, and you'll see that everything you need is right here. We are focused on helping people find actions that work for them. So what's really important to us is that this is about helping people to learn what are their opportunities to take action so that they can choose the right actions for their unique household and their unique lifestyle and whatever is important to them. So there's lots of options. So it's really meant to be a tool for just learning and finding your opportunities. And we have so many opportunities. I just want to take a moment and say that what the things we do in our daily life, we have the power to reduce almost half of all the emissions in the US by taking household actions. It is really powerful, the opportunities that we have. And that's the reason that we created Sustain Island Home, was because we wanted to really help people learn what those opportunities are. So here at the top, you can see a little bit about the savings that you've done, say, from taking different actions. And this is really where the information is. It's right here in the action set. And so as you as you explore, you can choose an action category. So these 4 action categories at the top here are all about actions you can take in your home on climate change. This is about energy efficiency at home. This is about transitioning to cleaner appliances like electric appliances and renewable energy at home. This is about transportation, and this is food and waste. These 5 action categories are household actions. Together, we have the power to reduce 42% of all US emissions by taking actions across these action categories. So it's really powerful. Then we have this is what we call our resilience row here. We have water stewardship and water conservation. We have community action, taking action outside of your household. And then we also have a full resilience category of how to be prepared for some of the emergencies that we're seeing. And also how to connect, like ideas of connecting with our neighbors and becoming a more resilient community. And then we're going to be adding one more category in. We're probably going to call it land and critters, which is all about biodiversity and land stewardship. So when you explore the site, you can come in and you can just explore whatever action category you feel pulled and drawn to. So if we look here at, we were talking about the church facilities earlier. So this is an equivalent for that. This is what can I do in my home to bring clean energy into my home? And so there's a lot of actions here. And we have actions like here, heat pump water heater, which is a really important action, but it's a bigger action. It's a project. It's not something that you might be ready to take on right away, but it's something you can think about and learn about for the next time you need to replace your water heater. So here we provide upfront cost and savings information. And this is all custom to your household if you answer a few questions for us about your home energy use. So we have the ability for you to put in some basic information about what you're doing now. It's a simple, easy form to fill out, and then we can provide you some really good information about your costs and savings, and then also your impact. And as you can see, I have this action. I'm working on it now already, so it's here. But there's basically a guide for every single action. It's like, well, what is a heat pump water heater and how do they work? And how would I choose the next step? And when's a good time to upgrade? And what do the costs look like? And then most importantly, we have loaded in all the resources that are available. So we've loaded in all the state and federal and large utility resources here so that you can find if there's a local rebate or a tax credit or any other program that can help you with that action. So it's really robust in providing you a lot of information about the actions that you can take. And as I said, you can explore all the different action categories and find actions that are right for you. And as I said, if you fill out that household profile that with some just basic information about what we're doing, all of these action will be customized so you can see for your unique household how much you'll save and what impact you'll have from taking different actions. And then most importantly as well, when you join and you designate your church, you'll be connected with others in your church. And so you'll have a page specifically for your church where you'll be able to come here and see your group impact for your church. And then you'll also be able to see the impact for the diocese here. and then the Episcopal Church as a whole, which is amazingly, it's so inspiring for me to come and every time and to see the progress and the actions everyone is taking. So that is the group page. And then finally, you're able to post messages and chat and share with each other. And really, we do this because it's an opportunity for people to help each other take action, and support each other and encourage each other in taking action. And then the final thing that I'll show you is we also have a series of meetings that people can do, and as very similar to the Love God's World. And you can come together in small groups of, again, 6 to 10, which is a perfect number for a small group. And you can meet together and learn together. So there's 4 topic meetings, and then there's an introduction meeting that you can choose to do, where you just come together as a small group and just learn a little bit about what is this program? What are some of the opportunities we have to take action? And we have some custom videos just for the Episcopal Church program that go in here as well. And I'm going to send these to Grace so she can share these with you all. So there's an introductory meeting, and then there's 4 meetings, each focused on the 4 core topics of action. The first one is around home energy. And then the second one is about food and waste. The third one is transportation. And then the final one is about community action. What can I do outside of my household actions? And so these meetings are really engaging and fun. You come together and you spend 20 minutes talking about what type of actions you were thinking about doing from the last meeting, or what have you done, and how you can share and help each other taking actions. And then you learn about a new action category. You have a fun activity to do together as a group. And then you have a chance to look at the actions in that category and talk about what you're interested in, and then also maybe what you've done already that you could help others with. So I'm going to go ahead and stop sharing here. Oh my goodness. Were you seeing my screen? Okay. It stopped sharing all by itself. I'm not sure why that happened. But you were able to see my screen before, or can you still see it now?
Yeah, we can still see it right
Oh
now.
my
The
gosh.
mountain ranges.
It's not giving me the option to stop sharing. Okay. Maybe Zoom has done some new fancy things. Okay, let me see here.
There you
All
go.
right.
You did
I think wow, Zoom has a totally new interface for screen sharing. That was different. Anyway, so I'll share the link in the screen, and let's see, how often are the I'm looking at the questions here. Quickly, because I know you all are time. So asking how often the underlying data is updated. So we our carbon calculator that we created is best in class, and it's the most robust household carbon calculator that you'll find. It's been vetted by UC Berkeley's carbon calculator program, and it is based on peer-reviewed science. We update all of the data that backs it up annually. And we have all sorts of data in there that's very localized. So wherever you live in the US or beyond, and we're also live in Canada, you can find you will find data that is custom to like what you pay locally for your electricity bill, or what you're paying for gas at the pump. So we're able to give you good information about the savings, and also really importantly, you can see how much impact you've had. So I'll put the link in the chat here for everyone.
Right. Thank you so much, Lisa. That was I can see the website is being upgraded somewhat since I looked at it maybe several months ago, I think, but it looks really nice website, easy to use. I love the idea of the follow-up meetings too. So really appreciate you making time to be here to bring this back to our attention today.
Oh, absolutely. Thank you so much. And I'm happy to help. And I'll send the meetings to Grace to share. And then if anyone would like help with the program, just please let me know. I'll put my email in the chat.
All right, thank you. And thank all our speakers today. We really appreciate making time, coming out, being with us. It's been an extremely informative meeting. And thank you all the participants. I think the plan now is this has been recorded. Everything in chat has been recorded and saved. It will appear on YouTube. So please use this as a resource. You can go to YouTube, and we will probably take sections of these recordings and divide them up into different topics and have those available as well. So if anybody has a particular interest, say in Kelvin's program or Adrienne's or whoever, then they can go and just download that part of the video. I think that will be very helpful if we can do that. So this is the point in time. Oh yeah, I did just add a couple of things in chat here. I put the link to the Diocesan CreationCare website, and I put a link in there. We do have a group email for the team members of the Diocesan CreationCare team. It's a Google Groups. So if you want to use that email, it goes to everybody on the team, and we get to see it and we can reply. This is the point. I know we're a little bit late, but I'd just like to open it up. Any last comments and thoughts? Anything you've heard today that is really exciting and you really want to take it back to your parish and congregation and move forward? I think the audio is clogged because so many people are speaking at once. I think that's it.
Well, the whole thing was exciting to me. I just think it's been a wonderful presentation and so much energy, and I deeply appreciate all the sharing of so many different people who are at various levels of this. You know, some of us are relatively new to it, and others aren't. But it was just a tremendous opportunity for sharing, and I thank all those who. Like you, Chris, who were organizing this and made it possible.
Thank you. I'm going to thank too Barbie and Grace, because even though I'm the guy who kind of like oils the wheels, and I mean, Barbie and Grace are really primarily responsible for bringing our speakers in today and helping put this together. And I really appreciate that. And as I said, again, this recording will become a resource for us to use going forward.
So much that we've learned, and there's so much new that I didn't know anything about. It's now just deciding how to implement that. It's going to be the next step.
Yeah, for the cathedral, and Peter and Jane are at the cathedral part of Peter and Jane, and so my mind is already working on.
Exactly, I know it is.
I think Dean Rene Jones is still online too. So we're building up the list of things we're going to do now.
Yep,
so
yep.
It's great. It's great. All right, I think I'm going to pass it on to Grace to pray us out with concluding prayers, and we thank God for this time together, and for everything we have heard and seen this morning, and it's been a real blessing. And I'm going to ask Grace now to formally pray us out. Oh, you're muted, Grace.
Thank you for that. Okay. Loving God, show us how to do things well today, so that others may not suffer here and there, now and in the future. Show us how to make our contribution as we change the way we live, travel, make and consume, distribute and sell, use, and reuse. Show us how to do simple things well in our homes, our places of work, and in our daily lives. Show us to protect the world you made in all its diversity and goodness. Show us how and show us why, so that alone and with others, our contribution will make a difference. Loving God, you call us to be good stewards of this earthly home. Strengthen us to care for your creation. Forgive us when, through our greed and indifference, we abuse its beauty and damage its potential. Empower us through spirit to so nurture and love the world. Oh my goodness, I'm stuck here, sorry. That all creation might sing to your glory. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you, Grace. And I wish you all well. Go out and serve the Lord in peace and enjoy the rest of this beautiful weekend that God has given us. So go in peace to love and serve the Lord.
Thanks
Thanks
be to
be to
God.
To God.
Good. God
Thank
bless.
you.
Yeah, bye for now.
Peace.